We're about to start our first workshop. Thank you for all being back. I'd like to welcome also Kruger and Havström from Gothenburg Botanic Garden. And they are going to give us a workshop on accessible data at what cost.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So I'm Åsa, and we have had Iris since November 2016. I've been away on parental leave also for a couple of months, so I have missed some Iris experience. So I would say a year for me in Iris. And Mats?
Yes, I've been on these workshops, and I've been sort of driving the project from the start that we really need this from having our own database that was not so advanced actually.
Yeah, so we're here today. At first we didn't know really what we were going to do and talk about. We have all these little problems and all these little hookups, of course, because we're beginners and we don't have all the experience. So what we want to do today is to be extremely humble and want to have all of your experiences to make our life more easy. Because we have a dream, and we're going to present our background and our dream a little bit, so you know what we're aiming at, and perhaps you can just share with us how you have worked.
And hopefully this will help you also.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get some good discussions. We would kindly ask you to have internet connection of any kind, Wi-Fi, or if you have it on your phone or something. You're actually allowed to use your phone on this workshop later.
Anyone in need? Sorry.
That will happen towards the end.
Yeah, so you can. Yeah, it will be at the end.
So while you do that, you can focus on that, or you can focus on me telling you a little bit about Botanic, the Gothenburg Botanic Garden. Opened in 1923, so we have an anniversary coming up. We're hoping to build new greenhouses for the anniversary, by the way. It's a quite large botanic garden because it contains arboreta and the nature reserve, and so 175 hectares is the size, and we grow around about 16,000 different species and cultivars, if you see, different kinds of plants. And this is an old figure. We're now up at 650,000 visitors per year, and our biggest event is the Hanami, the cherry blossom festival, which attracts around about 15, even up to 20,000 people in one day. So it's a very public place. We have about 45 permanent staff, and actually this is also a little higher, even up to 50 million kroner, which is 5 million euros annual turnover, run by the regional government. Right, and
do you take entrance fee?
Voluntary entrance fee.
Yeah.
So it is a good income, but it's I mean, we could have much more if we were able to sort of close in the garden a little bit more. It's quite open in different areas, so it's hard to have a mandatory fee. Next picture. Here you can see it. So you see how much trees there are. So this is the garden proper, you say, and here is a nature reserve, and blends into. Or here we have 3 large arboreta like this, with the stands of species of trees that was formed in the 50s. So that's and the center of the Gothenburg is down here. That's done. Now
So the garden varies a lot, and we have different parts in the garden, but we also have a lot of different people working in the garden. And we think that Iris will be a good way of bringing everyone together, working together, and get the garden to be more inclusive and everybody feel connected and work in the same way. That's something that we want to accomplish with this, because before everything was doing their thing in little separate ways, and we had a FileMaker database earlier, and people were finding different ways to work in that, so the data was not completely consistent all over the garden. So this is a little bit about the different people who work here, like the gardeners, of course, but also the people working in the shop and information center, administrators, educators, landscaping, arborita, and yeah. And then we have an empty box here, and that's the botanist, and you see
Two of them here.
a couple of
We have more botanists.
yeah. So the title, Accessible Data at What Cost? The purpose, as I said, is to collect experiences from you. We have divided the workshop in two parts. It's inwards and outwards. Accessible, what do we mean with accessible? In one way we mean accessible inwards is that everyone should be able to access the data over the plants. So everyone wants to know, or needs to know where to look for what data, and it should be accessible to everyone. Everyone should be able to work and get data from Iris. And also inwards we're looking at our owners. And Mats, you had a workshop
last Irish workshop about key indicators. So we're working on that, how to extract figures from Iris to deliver to the politicians and owners, mainly, so that, and also for ourselves to see that we're actually progressing all the time to get better and better data for our plants, just like we were talking about in the last workshop that we had with Paul Smith.
And also accessible, of course, to researcher and the outreach groups like visitors, journalists, that our data should be accessible to them as well. And high quality is something that we come back to when we talk about accessible data, and everyone should be able to work in Iris, have access to Iris. How do we keep the data at high quality, that we have consistent information put into Iris, and so on. That's something that we struggle with quite a lot, to get consistent data that everyone puts in the same things in Iris, so that we could get those key indicators to the owners, because if the data is not comparable, then yeah.
For different client groups, for instance, we have different views on what is a new accession or what is a new item, etc., etc. And these discussions can go on forever sometimes.
Yeah, I think they're going on forever. And so the dream is to have this totally accessible data without losing that quality that we want to have of our data. And today, the target group inwards, if we start inwards, it's all members of staff and owners. What we're struggling with is motivation. For once we had FileMaker database before, and then it was the botanists who worked in the database, and no one else. So it was not in the, it was not a routine for everyone to go in and work and put in data. And so the motivation is that, is it something that I need to do in my work or not? Isn't it the botanist's job?
Most gardeners, at least previously, they thought that, well, the only thing that is important is to keep the plants alive and looking happy. That's our main focus, which is really important.
Yeah, but there were also botanists saying, I know best.
Yeah.
So nobody should touch the database
Yes.
but me. So I think it goes both ways.
Absolutely.
And then we have a learning curve. Not all of the members of staff. We're used to using the computers to start with, and so that's a learning curve, and a difference in knowledge, of course, and also a lot of subjective assessments that people, their opinion about what is important and how important it is, and and where to go to find information, and so on. And then also for the key indicators, that's important to have this high quality. And we're struggling a bit with that, to be able to produce key indicators today. So this is the hurdle that we want to overcome.
Yeah. With the help of you.
So we're thinking of doing a couple of beehives. And the first one, how to get all members of staff to work in Iris in a way that ensures the quality of the data.
So we've been, because Iris is a fantastic package, but it does not include the routine documents that has to be in place for your own garden, right? So that's what we're trying to sort of construct. And that is the question: how specific? Should they be constructed?
And also, how many routine documents can an organization take?
Yes.
Is there some other way to get people to work in Iris than to have everything in a routine document? Yeah,
When you say routine, meaning as in policy.
Yeah, in policy documents, sort of when you access your data.
What should you
out
think?
this,
Yeah.
Who's responsible?
Yeah.
Is it to do this, and when should it be done? How often? All these things. You want a question?
Yeah. Do you want to give everyone the same responsibility for working in Iris, or the same access?
You mean the same role type?
Yeah.
That they could do the same thing, not
So do you
necessarily.
want them to add accessions, or do you want them to manage accessions? Or?
You want ideas, I think.
We want
We
ideas.
want ideas.
Any type of ideas how to actually construct such.
Is it more constructive for everyone to have the same access to Iris, or is it not? I mean, you don't have to answer now.
Stop! Yeah, trying to provoke you a little bit. We also have answers.
We know that this
Don't answer.
I think there's a step before that, because when we started Iris in Leiden, everybody was impressed with the possibilities, and I gave certain people certain rights, and it turns out that only very few people are accessing the database themselves because they turn to me to ask questions.
Yeah. How do you get away from that?
They have no time, and they get no time to play around with Iris. So the most efficient way is to let the collection manager do all the jobs, and then ask the collection manager, although they're interested in the results. So I think that's the first step.
Yeah. But that's the wrong answer. It does not go together with our dreams.
I think it's the other extreme. We in Cambridge give everyone full access to the database, and we've got them to total buy-in.
Yeah.
And all the Hort staff have computers on their desk. And we especially find with the younger Hort staff coming through, our new trainees and people like that, they also bring it along. You get some Hort staff who don't get it, and you have to get people like Ruth to come and help them move along. But actually, if you give them the tools and give them all the training they need, they actually and show them why what value it has. And we've recently introduced using the handhelds, and that's really revolutionising things. We've introduced our new labelling system. That's revolutionised things. And we've got much more buy-in by the whole staff.
So now you have two extremes. This will be very helpful in the discussion you will have soon.
Yeah, but now you're gonna stand up.
And turn to each other 3 and 3 as you sit, or as you stand when you're standing.
This is a stand-up behind. You can sit down for the rest.
And we wanted to discuss exactly this.
So this question, 3 and 3.
So, we want just one bullet point from each group right now, okay? Because otherwise we want to make it time-wise. So, if you ask on this side, I will.
Yeah, we start here. So the main thing that you were talking about, can you boil it down to
one thing, and that was like a thread of thought that ended up saying, if the software is addictive.
Yes.
I'm putting that in as addictive software, like heroin. So they can't do anything else. Yeah, that's sort of, but that's
They can't take care of the plants. All right. Well, that's another problem. That's not your problem.
You have to have points and stuff then.
Okay.
Yeah, like Facebook with whatever, ratings and I don't know.
And so we start together.
Yeah. So to add to that, we were discussing. We kind of got two different kind of size. So I think one of the things which kind of came out was actually limited resources. So staff access to computers and things like that limits use of the data.
Okay.
to make sure everyone has
Make sure
resources.
there's enough resources for people to. If you want people to do it, you need to have the resources.
Okay.
Perfect. Second group here.
The working side by side thing.
Yeah. So sort of taking the time to create the time to open up time for horticultural staff and other members who don't normally participate in plant records, to create a time for them to actually get involved.
Yeah.
Because expecting them to get involved without creating the time is...
That's right. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
So we move back to
Well, we think that maybe you should see the advantage of using it for all of them. You should find some point that they can see as an advantage for their work, also for horde staff. For instance, inspections. Inspecting the trees, and then you get a priority list of which trees need to be cleared first. And then, let's see, important for the safety of the garden, and they get a working list directly after making inspections.
Okay.
So sort of a motivational feedback.
When they have done their inspections, they get the work list back.
Yeah.
So instant
Data
uh,
collection.
instant-
Yeah, it's kind of like what you.
Well, we were one step beyond that.
I see that connection. So next group.
We all have the same problems, and I think that as a collection manager, it would be very good for me and for the organization if we had a sort of circuit of visiting IRIS users. Like Martin is now working with us, and well, he can enthusiasm to other people in the team, and we can also team up to solve the little problems that we run into. And that is really very fruitful. To have
That's a
people
really good idea.
working for some days in each other's garden just to discuss how
Maybe gardens could swap.
Yes.
Swap cross-pollination program. Cross-pollination program built into Iris. That's a cool.
Thank you so much.
That's actually rather cool.
Right. Next group here is where? Down here in the corner.
Strong views. I have strong views. Yes, I'm known for having strong views. Well, we ensure our data quality by having everybody being able to access the data, but only a few are able to control the whole data set.
Okay.
And we got all our members of the team to work with Iris, giving them very good training from the beginning and showing them how good the program was and the capability that they had in comparison to what they had before.
Right.
So it's important to have something worse before.
Yeah.
We're working on that prototype.
So first you get the poor version.
Yeah, a free version at the bottom.
The thing is, the database that we had before, it was very good when we had it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it was the interface was not very user-friendly.
Yeah.
So a lot of people that never worked with computers before found it really fiddly and complicated to get the data that they needed out.
Yeah.
So from the moment that we got Iris and people thought that the interface was easier, everybody started using it.
Good. So
Perfect.
user friendliness is good.
Yeah. So next group over here.
Respect the horticultural team. They're not cannon fodder just to make leaves and mow grass. Actually, they have a whole role in this. And if we support them, recognise it, train them, pay them well, make it part of the job, they're invested, and it's part of the horticultural job, and that's our profession.
Yeah, and also I think that goes for other kinds of stuff as well. Not only horticulturists, like the communicators and the teachers and so on.
I think
and so
the point
on.
is
Yeah.
we have a particular problem with not recognising the expertise and professionalism and paying properly for that from horticultural teams.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's why Cambridge finds it not so difficult, because actually they do recognise that, and they, on a UK basis, they do pay exceptionally well for good horticulturists.
Yeah, so professionalism to help professional development. Yeah, good. Excellent. Okay.
Just do all these good things, but recognise that quality is an iterative process, so you're just not going to get it right first time, and just have those cyclical processes in place to recheck and recheck, and use everything that you spot as another training opportunity, or another method to improve the process.
Endurance and patience.
Persistence.
Perfect. Especially the last one.
Great. And in the back here?
I think building on a bit about carving out space for the gardens is it's our role to persuade the rest of the management team that that is an important part of their job. It can't just load it on and say it's another thing they have to do. We actually have to and facilitate that space for them.
For the horticulture.
So put priority on this task without competition with other tasks. Is that what you're saying? So you would have to take away some plants probably.
Like create the time like we had before, and also respect the role and respect the other things you have to do in your work, and make the time and effort.
It's to persuade sort of non-horticultural managers, non-botanical staff to understand that this is actually going to have an output for them that they can use.
Yeah, it's useful, and they see the benefits from their work.
Make management understand the importance of
and also communicate the benefits of the work put in.
One last group, is that correct?
Probably all of what you said so far, but also invest in technology to support these people to do their job, because a lot of our staff use quite sophisticated technology at home every day, and we're sort of worrying, can they have a handheld and enter information? So the opposite is true with us. At the moment we've got a bad system with paper and a plant records officer that uses a stick to chase them. And now we're going to give them a carrot of something, hopefully, which is really cool and fun to use.
So
perfect. I think there was a provocative question enough.
Super, fantastic. Thank you so much. And now,
we
now
we have this follow-up. This is the same groups. What you talked about. What is the cost of what you?
You should take the next slide, I think.
You have it here?
No, one more slide.
This is it. What would the cost be to make this change, or to make this happen? So you have talked about it a little bit, touched upon it, but I just think that in the same groups you could just turn to. You don't have to stand up. But what would it take?
There's always a trade-off, If you want to do this, you can't do something else. So what's the cost and what do you need?
You get 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Same group.
Thank you very much. You're fantastic. I've never heard such a beehive.
Lots of clucking. No, very few eggs.
A lot of honey from this. Well, so same thing. Very, very short. What would that cost be? Right? Shall we start in the back? Over here. Or even in the middle?
Well, we flipped the question around to what's the cost of not doing it? Yesterday we had what's the definition of a botanic garden? It's documenting your collection and managing it well. Well, if you don't do this, then you're not doing that, and it's negligible.
Right. Okay, thank you. So the cost is not doing it.
And then what is the cost of not doing it? That was it. What is the cost of not doing it?
That was the question that they posed. Yes. And that is not being a botanic garden.
Yes. So I can't turn it around.
The cost of not doing what we asked for is not being a botanic garden.
So the cost is you are being a botanic garden. No.
Not being a botanic garden.
By not
You're out.
doing it.
I know.
Okay.
Never mind.
No religion.
Not
So next one here in the corner back.
Corner back.
Oh, sorry. sorry, we're just at work at the Gothenburg Garden.
So it's half a day a week for the head gardener.
Half a day.
Or somebody to lead in that, to be spent on the management of plant collection in a sense. So it might be recording, it might be chasing up a particular you know, missing element of the plant collection or something. But if we could even carve out that space, it's a really
Fantastic. That's very good. That's a very.
That's IT costs.
Yeah.
So
half a day per week. 10% of the work. Right. We're moving over here.
Yeah,
so when we see it's the what is the cost of not doing it? So it's that loss of reputation. It's your being invisible. Your data's not available. People don't know. Collection's got ancient trees and things like that. So that's the.
Good. Do you get that? You think? Well, yeah, it was the same answer that we had really.
Yeah.
Okay, we're moving here.
Well, we kind of started from the point of, well, this is part of the garden team's role and things like that, so it's already kind of built in. So it then becomes a question of prioritisation and working out what the cost benefit is of mowing the grass for the third time compared to actually doing some plant records. Or actually, if we were to get better data and start sharing these and empowering people to use that data, actually you're saving time by not having to ask somebody a question or having to start from scratch again to work out how many taps do we have and all of that. So iteratively it kind of builds and builds in making its own time.
Okay, so the cost diminishes as time goes by.
It's an investment.
Yes, it's an investment more than a cost.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, definitely we do see it as an investment because we use Iris as a work management system. People can just do tasks and without having to consult to anyone and access the data. But it also, for our whole team here, they need to give 20% of their time to collection management.
Yeah. Okay, 20%.
20%.
Oh yeah, that's part of their job
It's
description.
part of the job description.
Yeah,
Okay.
but that's perfect. That's perfect to have that number.
That's a cost. Okay. Gavlar and company, I think.
Well, I have been told as regarding it as an investment, which is excellent, of course, because in the present situation, it will just cost more time and more money, and probably also a larger version of Iris, because if you want to have give everyone access to the database, then 3 users won't be enough anymore.
No, for sure.
And that would be another kind of investment.
Yeah. So Laura, more
license.
Okay, we're moving quickly here.
I heard it before. At the first time, it will be an investment, and later on, then you're saving a lot of time because the curator don't have to fill in that a plant died or something like that, or had to be pruned. So I think it will save some time at the end.
At the end, okay. So the percentage will diminish. time spent. That's what you say. Yeah.
Time is money.
Yeah.
And it also
Okay.
saves time.
Annelien and Martin.
We sort of said. So one of the things we said is that the cost of also played around with it. The biggest cost is the cost of making time.
Yeah.
And one of the things you have to, it's better to have tasks overlapping, so that the horticultural and the curatorial staff, and there's always a tendency to say, oh gee, but the horticultural staff are overworked, you're overworked, rather just get a volunteer to help fill the gap, instead of filling the gap with the staff and making making time to make functions overlap or something like that, and to create a bigger unity within the team.
Yeah. So overlapping functions.
That's a risk and it's a benefit.
Oh, that's
the cost is perhaps time.
The cost is the time and managing that time and just doing it in a
that you can
sensible way.
Yeah, you can lower the time by doing this overlap, I suppose. All right, where are we? Here in the front, I think.
So the question was, if it costs something, where are you going to take where are you going to get those costs from, really?
Yeah.
And the thing that was voiced here is that it's actually worthwhile looking at how to increase the quality of your collection by doing this, but reduce the number of plants that you have. So if there may be less plants to care for, and a higher quality of what you're doing with the plants that you do choose to care for. So be more critical on the collection. So to get to have the right costs from there.
With good data.
And in addition to that, there was like for the annual report, it's good to have a large collection. So and if you have a lower collection, then that could be a problem. That you could try to counter that by making qualifiers for collection quality. So you put those, you make it measurable that the quality of your collection, including the record, is increasing.
Yeah. So that's
and then you have a good story to say, well, we have 1,000 plants less, but the quality of our collection is up.
Yes.
So we have to look for those qualifiers.
Yes. So we had this suggestion last year that we would have a way to sample the collection and look at maybe a subset of
maybe the whole
extensions.
database. Because if you have if you sort of find a way to analyze the data that you have, you don't have to take a sample of your collection.
Right. So we need a quality key indicator measure built into Iris. Thank you.
The idea was, if you've gone to a garden centre, you buy a plant that's very low quality. But if you go out and you spend thousands of pounds going and collecting it in the wild, that's high quality.
Yeah.
And you could almost just search the database, say anything in wild origin, that's instantly
Provenance,
higher value. And then look at provenance.
Provenance
and
and
got point data that gets higher value, etc.
Can I just add to that? Because there's another way of doing it. It's a really important thing because we all have people we have to report to. So there is a conversation that we have with whoever we answer to, which is that our reporting could shift from collection size, whatever it is, and quality, which is hard to measure, to use. So that's an executive discussion we had, and if you can shift that conversation, then you're not getting held quite to the fire on size.
So shift reporting from
size to use slash quality.
Yeah, it's quantity versus quality.
Yeah, eventually.
But how do you measure that?
Yeah, but there's another. You're skipping the quality step basically because the quality is you're making the quality speak for itself by measuring use rather than quality.
Do researchers want to use it?
Requests, for instance. We had that in the last. Yeah. So.
I suppose it's all been said, but in general, we felt the question was wrong in that if you conclude that no, I was joking in that if you conclude that there's just a cost, it should be a clear benefit and totally as an institution.
Benefit you need
So we have to make a cost benefit,
especially if this is going to be communicated to management and then. So some individuals will bear a bit of the burden in terms of changing their work description and things. So on an individual, but as an institution, there should be a clear benefit. If it isn't, then you shouldn't do it really.
Yes.
So
if there's no benefit, why are you doing it?
Exactly. Yeah. So that's a difficult question, but one should go through that question. I think.
Absolutely. I think it goes back to the question about investment versus cost.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Excellent.
What is the investment? That's the word. Yeah.
All right.
Did you forget a group? No?
Everyone has said something, I think.
Perfect. So, the last thing, now we're taking a bit short on time.
Yes.
But we're just going to mention outwards also, and the target groups and how we communicate and make the data accessible to them. We listed 4 of our target groups, like other botanical gardens, use Indeximum and BTCI. Researchers, GBIF, and we also have a local computer with Iris on our local university as well, so they can go in and check our collections. Garden Explorer, of course, for schools and visitors. We still struggle a little bit with communicating with schools through Iris. We use the homepage more, but I think with tours and other things, and also we talked a lot about these custom attributes. I think that would they will benefit from those as well. So the last thing we're going to do before lunch is for you to answer a Mentimeter question.
Now you need your Wi-Fi or whatever it is on your. So you go to this website www.menti.com and you type in the code 512561. And if you don't have the internet, then you can do it together.
It won't show up on the screen. It will show up here.
Okay.